Roadhog's hook is broken. I feel fairly confident in saying that, but it's broken in multiple degrees, and maybe not just in the way that you would think or you would expect. It's inconsistent, and that's a major problem. Luckily though, it's something that's being addressed and is going to be fixed in the not too distant future. So first of all, this was addressed during the Overwatch Q&A at BlizzCon this year. It was mentioned that they're working on fixing Roadhog's hook. This doesn't necessarily mean a nerf though, it meant more consistency and fairness. They called it Hook 2.0.
For Roadhog, we are investigating and we already have planned out what we're calling Hook 2.0, looking at like what it feels like to be Roadhog, what it feels like to be hooked by Roadhog, what we can do with the game mechanics themselves. And we'll look at all those things together to try to make something satisfying for you guys.
And in some regards, it's going to be almost an overhaul. They've mentioned on several occasions that when it comes to abilities in this game, they want things to always feel fair for both the shooter and the person being shot. Nothing should seem broken or not working as intended, and you should always know exactly how and why you died so you can avoid it in the future. Or how and why your shots didn't land so you can make sure they do next time around. Enter Roadhog's hook, which on a regular basis feels absolutely broken on both sides of the equation. So first of all, it can feel unfair for the person being hooked. Then this is primarily due to the huge hitbox that it has. Players are often hooked when they're not in line of sight, crouching behind cover, around corners, etc. In fact, there have been numerous recorded incidents of hooks literally passing through objects to reach their targets. And players will also get hooked after rounding corners, although a lot of that can be due to being hooked prior to rounding the corner and then momentum carrying you forward. But that then again plays into the issue of it not feeling right. It doesn't seem fair in those instances for the person who is hooked. But as I mentioned earlier, hook can also feel unfair for Roadhog himself. It can feel inconsistent is the primary issue. And this generally shows up with the placement of heroes who have been hooked. Due to the positioning of Roadhog or the momentum of the hooked player, this shows up a lot of time with Genji and Lucio. Sometimes after you hook somebody, they'll end up to your side, above you, or hell, even behind you. It is super inconsistent. And then on top of that, sometimes hooked targets will get stuck on geometry and not even be pulled to Roadhog. This can happen sometimes when there's a staircase involved or a doorway. If you hook someone and then they break line of sight, they'll just get stuck against the wall or a railing and they won't be hooked to you. And then to top it all off, some heroes get pulled closer or further away from you. One of the biggest examples is Ana. She is pulled at a distance where you can literally not melee her after a hook. She's too far away. It is so inconsistent. And this also plays into a third big issue, which is hook requiring a special technique in order to optimize against certain heroes. Like I said, some heroes won't get pulled as close to you so you can't do your combo. And what this ends up meaning is you have to use this strafing method where you look away at a 90-degree angle, strafe a little bit to the right, and then look back at the hooked target in order to get them to land where you want them to or where most other heroes land. And this goes strictly against Blizzard's past design philosophy when it comes to abilities in this game, that they don't want unknown mechanics so that some players can get an advantage over people who don't utilize them. The biggest example in the past was Genji with his animation canceling using an attack, a melee, and then a dash, giving him a lot of burst potential. Blizzard didn't like that mechanic was there and then it wasn't intuitive to all players. They just want you to shoot people and use your abilities. They don't want a lot of these underlying mechanics. And while we could sit here and have the conversation about whether or not that's good for the game and how it may take away from some of the skill ceiling to the game, that's a discussion for a different day. The bottom line is Blizzard has stated and balanced in the past around this philosophy. So all of these issues, hook feeling unfair for the person getting hooked due to its huge hitbox and them getting hit when not in line of sight, hook feeling inconsistent for the Roadhog himself due to placement of heroes and them sometimes not even being brought to him, and then hook requiring special techniques in order to actually optimize and get the best use out of. All of these issues need to be addressed and fixed when Blizzard implements Hook 2.0. In order for it to feel fair and consistent, point, they have to take care of all of this. Now, I saw it mentioned in an interview with Kotaku when they were talking about Roadhog and his hook that its current design is essentially this sphere that gets tossed out and determines if any opposing player comes in contact with that sphere, then the hook will be attached to that player and they will be pulled to the Roadhog. But due to everything that happens in the game, all the different players and the different geometries and the different levels and everything, all of these issues have come up. And as such, hook is more or less broken. It's not consistent and it doesn't always feel fair. And these are the things that I'm really hoping that Blizzard fixes with Hook 2.0. Now, we don't currently have a timeline as to when this is happening, but this was discussed at BlizzCon, which was a little over a month ago, and they said it would be coming fairly soon. It was something that they were working on internally at that event. So it's been over a month since then. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw Hook 2.0 at some point this month, at the very latest, January. But it's something that they're addressing, that they know, and that hopefully they're aware of all the issues so they can try to make it better. And these are just the issues that I know so far as someone who doesn't even play Roadhog that often. I'd love to know what some of you guys think. Are any Roadhog mains out there have some more issues that should be addressed? And again, we need to talk about fairness on both sides, not just as a Roadhog player, but also, do you see some bullshit that you happen to get off on occasion because you hook someone who wasn't even visible? And don't lie, it happens, you know it. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it for me here today. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have a good afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.